You mean to have your name tag?
And we're live. I thought about.
Okay, well, if in case nobody knows, this is Grayden from Established Media. He's wearing his name tag still. I've thought by now we'd all know who you were. I'm wearing the ST.Thomas coat, so I'd be the mayor.
But who do we have with us?
Yeah, guess. Look.
Who is this?
Hello.
This is Rose. She's a museum manager.
Yes, at the Alton County Railway Museum.
But if you can't tell where we are tonight, Rose, tell us where we are.
So we are in CAR 14.
CAR 14.
Talk really loud. We can bring the camera over too. You know what? We'll just do. Okay.
You're doing it here.
We've gotten in trouble about the volume before when we're playing when we're kind of fast and loose.
Yeah. So we're in the London Port Stanley CAR 14 in the Alton County Railway Museum, a very recent restoration project we completed.
And it is gorgeous. If you haven't seen it, this.
Woo. This is as comfortable as I've ever been on Mayor's Update. This is plush.
Right?
Yeah.
These seats.
A lot of great work was done in here.
Yeah, it's definitely our biggest accomplishment. We're very, very proud.
Yeah.
And the seats flip. I don't know if people know this, but I just learned this today. So I want to share with everybody how these seats work. Like you see this seat and you're like, oh, this we want to just move it.
Well,
what? You don't want to sit with these other people?
It's like magic.
You just flip the seat.
No,
get out of here.
You could close it up and then you're not sitting with those people. That
would
work too.
It's absolutely incredible that way. So Rose, how did that come about? How did this happen?
So the LMPS stopped running in ST.Thomas in 1957.
Yeah.
And then around 1962, a Quebec museum actually took possession of CAR 14. And then it took a while up until 1999 when the ECRM took possession of it. And slowly but surely, our volunteers have been working on it, restoring it. And recently, this is where we are.
Well, I'm glad we were able to separate it from Quebec. Oh, sorry.
Whoa.
That joke wasn't bad. Yeah, for a guy who had no sleep in the last 2. Yeah.
Yeah, because you just got back from Japan.
Yes, I just flew back from Japan. Boy, are my arms tired. And
and the jokes just keep on coming, folks. The hits are here all night.
Yeah.
This is going to be a great night. I hope you're ready for this, guys.
Yeah, we do 2 shows on Wednesdays.
2 shows on Wednesday. Wait, what?
There's 2 shows. Yeah, no. And there's a buffet. No, that's
a buffet. Where's the buffet?
Yeah, I'm just kidding. We're here at the Alton County Railway Museum because it's one of our favorite spots, and sitting in CAR 14. Right? I'll tell you, it's. I had peeked in the door once before. It's the first time I've actually came and sat in a chair in it. This is top notch. This is as good as restoration gets. I can't wait for Saturday.
Yeah,
yes.
Right. We're taking a little trip in it on Saturday.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Rose, what's happening?
Saturday is the big day. We are doing 3 runs from the Railway City Tourism Office down to Port Stanley and back. First run is at 9:30. That is with local dignitaries, community organizations, that sort of thing. Our board of directors will be there. Yeah. The second run of the day is just for our volunteers. Our volunteers are the ones that did all the hard work and the labor over 26 years for this project. And
there's enough seats for all of them? Because I know there's a lot of volunteers.
There's a lot of volunteers across a few organizations.
Right.
Between the first and second run, almost all of them will be present if they're able to be. And then the third one is for the public. And Port Stanley Terminal Rail sold tickets for that event, but it did sell really fast. But stay tuned. We're hoping to do more in the future.
Well, we should do it 3 a day all summer. This would be just when it's this beautiful. You want people to see it, right? Don't bring your children or your pet. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and don't drink too much down in Port Stanley because it rocks a little bit on the way back. Yeah. And you really, folks, look at these seats. You want to make sure that they are.
This is nice.
Yeah, and the stained glass. How did that happen?
So
you take glass and you stain it.
The stained glass on the interior is original, but the exterior stained glass did get destroyed at some point in time and got replaced.
Wow, beautiful job though. Look at the brass luggage racks and the old bell rope still there, right?
So there's a lot of original features, like the baggage racks up there, the brass little fixtures you see on the seats, that sort of thing. Same with the windows for the
window
blinds.
Catches,
Those are all original. The wood interior was redone by our volunteers. The blinds were sewn and glued by hand by volunteers to replace them. The wooden handles were rebuffed, file down. Same with the brass. All brass fixtures are the same. They just got shined and buffed
Wow.
by our volunteers. That light you see just in front of me, that is original to CAR 14. The little notices and signs you'll see throughout CAR 14 are from ECRM's collection, and they're all local London and Port Stanley Railway signs.
But how bad did it look when it came back to St.Thomas?
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took it down to the frame at that point. I say as if I was there. I was born
Yeah.
in 1999,
Yeah,
just for a little
well,
bit of context.
yeah.
But we took it down to the frame eventually and redid it all. It wasn't in great condition. There's a lot of photos on our social media from that point, and hopefully you see more in the media coming up too.
Yeah. Well, we can't wait. This is fun and beautiful. Another huge asset to the Railway Museum, Railworks, the whole coalition, right? Is fantastic to have an asset like this that can be used for special things like what it was originally used for. So this car, sometime in the 50s, sometime in the 40s, made trips back and forth between London and Port Stanley, taking people to the beach on the weekends and back, right?
Yeah, and it was also just for regular passenger travel, just
Right.
around town. It was what you would consider a luxury passenger vehicle.
Right.
The reason we were able to make as much progress as we had over the past 3 to 5 years was we had a very generous family donate to us, and they had a personal connection to the LMPS CAR 14 specifically, because the gentleman actually met his wife riding CAR 14 to and from school, and has a very strong personal
because it was
attachment.
also the school bus of the day too.
Yes.
For a lot of students. That was it. I mean, you read about the history of LMPS, and it was just about everything. Send a little cargo, send some milk, go to school, and for vacationing back to Port Stanley and back and forth. It's my former mother-in-law used to tell me about the trips to Port Stanley. Every Sunday, you got to get up early and get down to the station in London so you can get on the train. Then you got to watch which one you're coming back on so that you don't get stuck and left in Port Stanley. Right? Yeah. Hey, I wasn't there.
No, we've heard a variety of all those kinds of stories from local visitors coming in about personal connections. They either rode CAR 14 at one point in their life, or their family did.
Wow.
And it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have some that are like some additional stories you can share with us? Not to put you on the spot. I know I'm putting you on the
People
spot.
met
That's
their
the
wife.
big
That's
one.
pretty big, right?
Yeah, that's a big one. That was really, I don't want to say shocking, but it was very memorable for staff and volunteers for that one. It's really personable, and it's.
Do they have a special seat tomorrow or Saturday?
They do.
Okay. Excellent.
Wait, what?
All right.
Yes.
Excellent.
Are they at the back of the car?
Oh.
They're staying.
That's what
Not
they-
telling.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
find out when you're there.
Right. Excellent. Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, this is you know how much we love visiting the Elgin County Railway Museum and all of the artifacts in it. But now we've made it even more special for us to come by and say, I was on that one.
Yeah.
And wasn't in the 50s, but I was on.
And the open house on the weekend was
Yes.
packed. I came
Yes.
out with my family.
I did hear that. I was
It was-
following from away, and how busy things were last weekend when I wasn't in town.
It was epic. Yeah, things still run when you're not here.
No, it does. It's amazing how well I muck things up if I'm home.
Ah.
No, never.
But what were the how many people did you have out?
We had roughly 1,400 people, give or
Perfect.
take,
Wow.
between 11
Come
and
see
4,
the museum. Come see what's going on here and across our community. 1,400 people came here. You know, they went other places, whether they went out to eat or went to Shaw's or did other things. It's just great when we can have events that attract a lot of people in our community. It's great for business.
Oh, it's and the kids. Like Lily, my daughter, was playing with the trains.
Right, of course. Right.
The Thomas the train engine setup, and then she wanted to stay in the little maquette room with all the the hymn room, history in motion.
Yes.
They're just incredible.
I know that work is amazing. It blows my mind every time I go in there. And the volunteers in the hymn room, which is for those of you, the model train layout we have at the ECRM, and it has been, like as many things here, a labor of love, and it's consistent
and it keeps
work.
getting touched up just a little bit more.
Yeah.
I know. I've seen it. Wait, that part's new, or somebody's added the co-op or something else lately, and it's just incredible what we've added in the history.
It's 30 years of work, and they're constant. 3 times a week they're in there working on it, and you just never know what you're going to come in.
Well, I
next.
bet there's some discussions too. No, it's a little further this way. No, it looked like this instead. Right?
Yes.
Just love people with passion working together on projects like that.
And who's the fellow that does? He actually puts a camera on the trains and then does the runs. What was his name?
His name is Norm.
Norm Tuger?
Yes, he's been with us for a few years now. He is very dedicated. He loves to put his little GoPro on one of the models.
It's so cool.
They're running it through the city.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has a YouTube channel. We can share that, but you can watch the trains run through all the towns in Elgin County and St.Thomas. Like Springfield, Wabash, Port Stanley.
Their model is labeled or oriented around St.Thomas in the 50s. So all the surrounding townships of that time period as well. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited now. I was almost falling asleep when I came in, but I'm quite excited now.
Yeah. And then Rose, before we switch over to city business, is there anything else to share about the Elgin Museum, Queso Station, and now Elevated Park is a part of your coalition as well?
Yes, it is. There's lots going on across the organizations. Make sure you stay up to date on our website or social media pages. There's lots of events coming up. Like this weekend, tomorrow is the Pfeffer Derby that's taking place during the day in our building.
I think we can actually see.
You can see the setup.
They're kind of set up.
Where's the track out there?
Right in the middle of the space over there. You can't really see it.
Just where that speaker
is.
A
little bit of it there.
But an exciting day if you've not been to the Pfeffer Derby.
It's a lot of fun.
Before.
One of my favorite events.
It's hosted by us, but it's run by Our Place Respite in town.
Right.
Wonderful group, wonderful team there. Come out, support us. It's a lot of fun. And then Friday's just regular operating hours. Saturday's a big historic day with Car 14 in the morning, but then we have the fish fry here in the evening, 4:30 to 7 that night.
Wow.
Yep.
I've been known to eat some fried fish, so I know. Where else am I that day? No.
I don't think you can be anywhere else.
Well, there is the 75th anniversary of Rotary that afternoon that I am also getting to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Well, hey, I'm home. Let's get to all the events that are going on. And when a club like the Rotary reaches a 75th anniversary, you better go say thank you. Can you imagine how much work a club like that has done in 75 years in St. Thomas?
I have a bunch of family members that are part of that and friends.
Right?
It's been incredible.
So, the mayor promised he'd come and say a few words, even though he's still a little shy and doesn't always like this.
Where is that happening?
That one's at the Holiday Inn Express.
Oh, great. Is it open to the public or is it invite only?
I don't know that. They invited me. I don't know.
But
I would imagine it's an event for everyone in Rotary. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
Beyond that. But I wanted to say thank you to them because I had a chance.
No. And even then, even Sunday, we have one more this weekend. It's the train show. The St. Thomas Model Railway Show is in the space at 9:30 to 3:30 on Sunday as well.
How do you get broken down Saturday night to have that early Sunday morning?
Oh, I come in very early.
Oh, no.
Very early
I know
Sunday
that the
morning.
angels come and move all the stuff. Yes.
Along with some volunteers and the group hosting the show as well come in nice and early. We do a flip and get everything prepared for a 9:30 a.m. start.
Perfect.
So,
Awesome. Well, Rose, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
On Car 14. Grayden and I are spending the night, by the way. It's
so comfy. Do these lie flat?
No, not flat.
Really?
Okay. No, but if you're only 3 feet tall, you could lay on one.
That's what I would suggest. You need to be able to have a napping space. And I feel like
that's what the office is for.
We got the bell roll. Yes.
We're getting the bell.
Yeah.
All right, Rose, we're gonna jump into some city business. But we'll get you off. We'll get you off camera here.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. I appreciate this for the live show here.
No worries.
Oh.
Have fun.
Oh, we'll try.
Okay.
You know us.
Well, so if you have any questions for the museum or for us, please get them in now so we can answer them before the end of the show because it seems to go very quickly.
Yeah.
Right? So let's talk about a couple of events that are happening first. We've got a live concert at Parkside on Friday night.
There we go.
All right. And coming up, and you need to get your teams and yourself registered, is Running the Runway at the airport for the YMCA as a fundraiser.
Oh, this is going to be a great one. Yeah.
Jordan's Run the Runway. And, you can go out there and pretend you're an airplane if you want. And if anybody's ever told you to take off, that would be the time for you to get out to the airport. Right? And I have no other, because I had no chance to do research today. So there must be other things going on that I'm now going to be delinquent in sharing. But we had council last night, so there's a few things from it. I'll get through it quick. First of all, Southwest Public Health came and did a deputation last night about measles, because it's pretty critical right now that we talk about causes, avoidance, and that type of thing. So they came last night. If you want more details, maybe live stream council and get what Dr. Tran had to say.
Okay, so we can get that in the comments there. Absolutely, yeah. I'll put that in after the show.
Okay, we had we're going to AMO in August, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and every year we come forward with what ministers we will see and what we will discuss with them. And we presented last night to council the different deputations we're looking for at AMO. Built for Zero Canada is a homeless reduction initiative fund that's out there, and we've been applying. And you know how we're working hard on homelessness. So that was a report from Danielle last night. Danielle, my local hero, community improvement stuff, as per always. Some more housing stuff. Just new business. The old courthouse neighborhood party is happening. The health recruitment partnership. We have a couple new docs that are looking and talking about coming, and we'll share some more with that. We talked about the stats out there from the YMCA on the, as you all know from watching this show, the city of St. Thomas put $100,000 out there to help St. Thomas residents with the cost of going to the Y for swim lessons, for aquafit, and for family swim. And boy, we've had thousands of people use some of that. We've almost used up half of the 100,000 we put out there. That sure is telling us that, given the right price, people will go to the YMCA too. So if you're from St. Thomas and your family likes to get in a pool once in a while and swim, or aquafit, or even swimming lessons,
hot tubs, sauna,
well, all of it's available to you through the price of St. Thomas. We looked at the Canada Public Transit Fund for the next 5 years, how we're spending. We have some money set aside still to try and put electric buses on the road in St. Thomas.
Right.
And we are still hunting for them. We were asked that question last night. We can get great big electric buses, but we can't seem to find the small version that is a Canadian-made product.
Okay.
Right. So we're still hunting for someone in Canada to at least outfit the smaller buses as electric. As we do, we'll certainly replace the fleet.
Volkswagen,
no,
electric.
Sounds like electric. Yeah, sounds like all these things could really come together if we do this right. And a bunch of other proclamations coming up. Fetal alcohol syndrome with the bell ringing. National Accessibility Week is coming up. Next week, there'll be a flag raising on Monday morning. And that is really what happened at council. And then we had a public meeting about the site for our next Indwell project at Balaclava School. 78 supportive housing units. Balaclava School, a historic building. We were able to save it. We were able to purchase it from the school board and save it and use it for housing. And some minor renovations will be happening to the historic building, but nothing that was from a historic nature. The old gymnasium out back will be taken down, and there'll be an addition put on that will be even more housing. So really incredible to see how much housing we can have. And we had a few people come out to the public meeting last night and discuss what they were looking or trying to get answers for their neighborhood as to what this will mean. What does Indwell do? How is Indwell at managing projects like this? I feel exceptionally comfortable with Indwell taking another project in our community. The police chief put out a great report about 2 weeks ago on what's been happening since we've had supportive housing in our community and how much crime has dipped. And it's in the 10s and 20s and 30s and 40% of crimes that have happened because we're housing people. This is a natural solution in our community. We'll continue to do it. I really want us to be able to say in the next year, 18 months, we're at zero. We have no homeless in our community. And this is the type of thing that will get us there. And I think as people understand that we're working on homelessness and not sheltering, this is homelessness.
It's a very different process.
Right? This is permanent homes for people that they can then, through the support of Indwell, move on to other permanent housing from there. But it's a permanent home to start with for as long as you need it. And having visited both the station and the Rail City Lofts and the work that's happening in their other 2 sites in our community, very pleased to be working with a great charity like Indwell.
Yeah, and if you're looking for more information on that, we did a beehive with the mayor, as well as representatives from Indwell and Mike.
I watched it while I was in Japan. I watched myself on. Oh, look! I know that guy. He's from St.Thomas.
Yeah, but it goes over through all the details. So if you're curious about it, what it shows is that they have 2 different sections within that facility. There's a higher intensity in terms of the support section, and then as people are more able to be independent, they can move into the other space. So I know that a lot of people are concerned. The biggest concern that I've heard is that people aren't going to have the supports that they need while they have the housing. But in that location,
24-hour, 7-day-a-week supports on site for those that need it. And as you say, as people quit needing it, have either get support with their mental health or get support with addictions, then it becomes less. But there's a full meal served at least once a day to everybody in the place. That helps with the other food security issues, and lots of having 4 walls and a place to put your own stuff is just an incredible piece, right? And lots of peer support in the building for you to get by. These, in many cases, Grayden, we reach out, we take someone who's been homeless and on the street for a year, and it's a strange thing for them to be suddenly housed, but in the long run, they're quite pleased with it, and it works very much in getting them out of. I mentioned what the police report said on the reductions of crime and stuff, but the visits to ERs drop, emergency room visits drop almost in half once we're into housing, because you have an on-site support system.
Yeah, so you can have, if you have an issue, you can have it looked at before it becomes a serious issue that you need to go to the ER for.
Right. So
it also relieves the pressure on our healthcare system by having these supports in place.
Well, and some of those emergency ER visits are mental health induced. And when their supports are on site for that, then that also helps it. It also stops our police from having to be involved in things that aren't truly crimes. They're really welfare checks, as we call them. And we talked a lot last night also about our community policing system, also now including Balaclava. And so our on-the-street officers will be visiting there too. And as I've noticed when I was at the station, they have a lot of friends in each of the Indwell buildings. So perfect.
You integrate the services, you become friends with the people, you're able to support them properly.
And then that gives us, as you and I look at, it gives us a much more vibrant downtown. We don't have people actually on the street downtown without a place to go. Honestly, so once someone has an apartment, we want them to hit those grocery stores and those pharmacies and those restaurants and the stuff that anybody living near downtown would do. But it really gives them a permanent home in substitute to living on the street. So it's quite good for us.
It's incredible. And the fact that there are so many people reaching out to you in particular and our support services, our social services, to learn how St.Thomas has managed to do this.
Well, I just traveled with a number of mayors, and I was questioned a lot. Okay, and then you did what? And how did you do this? Right? We don't have many of the other communities in Southern Ontario. I would perhaps say all have campgrounds, have people who are sleeping in the rough in their cities. We've at least put in a protocol to help make sure that that's not what's happening in St. Thomas. We hope homelessness doesn't grow back to where that would be the case, but we know that we've got the right team effort going on, not just the city and Indwell, but CMHA and a number of other agencies, the YWCA and what they do, and all of the groups.
If you look at the network of agencies that have all come together in St. Thomas, Allen County, it is absolutely incredible.
Right.
The way they're working together.
And I can't speak about homelessness or housing in our community without talking about this council.
Yeah.
I've got the world's greatest council that has put together the right thing that cities can do, and it's housing right now. And so we'll continue to look for this from a supportive housing point of view. We'll continue to work on affordable housing for seniors and others, and we can do it all. We've got great builders who will build other homes and other apartments. So we let them go once we get their plans. Right? Yeah. But the city can do the projects on the rest.
Yeah, you get rid of all the bureaucracy and you just make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's just incredible.
Well, and make it happen as fast as we can. I mean, truly, we bought the old Balaclava school from the school board less than 3 months ago, I think. And now we're already at a planning session of what the building looks like, how we can go. Indwell now owns it, so they can start doing the construction. We're moving faster than we thought. I continue to say to some other communities around us, quit having meetings to start doing. And St. Thomas is doing that well.
And it speaks well to the way the council works. You know, you've got a million different options, and as long as you have the plans, when things come into place, that you can put them into action.
Right. We hear something like this, and 78 new units can be done. We go, how fast?
Yeah.
By yesterday, and we really, and it's not done without care. We're still meeting all of our own bylaws and such in order to do it. But public meetings need to be called when we're changing, when we're not meeting an absolute planning standard that's in the OP. But we make it work. Yeah.
No, it's incredible. We've got some questions here to wrap up. Nicole's saying, can you tell us about the newly enacted changes provincially to mayoral powers, as well as whether the new rules apply to St. Thomas, and how will this affect the community?
The strong mayor's powers, I made a joke last night and said they really should be called weak mayor's powers, because mayors that can't seem to get it done with their council would need these powers. I've declined all of them at this moment. I've delegated the powers back to where we always had them, where the mayor and council will make those decisions on hiring, on housing and other pieces. And that's how it was set up by the province, that the mayor could take on the power to do the budget all by themselves, or to do hiring of a CAO all by themselves, or directors. And I said, no, I want to leave it right where we are. I've got the world's greatest council. Let's them work together on it. So at this moment, no change in St. Thomas. Happy to continue to work with a great team that we've had together for quite a while.
Absolutely. Brett Longfield saying, what is the master plan for ECRM? We can't answer that. That question should have come in a little bit sooner when we still have the team on here. And then what is the status for the secondary plan required for the railway lands? Is it still the same as we talked about?
Yeah, I'm meeting again this week with both our planning department and one of the landowners, and we'll have some more communication as we move it forward. But it's now being established on how to develop the secondary plan. There's no rush to it. Let's get it right. Let's do all the public stuff we have to do.
I've heard some great ideas. So it's very interesting. And this is just from the public ideas they want to put forward.
Right.
Nicole saying, fantastic repurposing of the Balaclava Street School building. Wow.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you for saying so. We think it is too. Saving that building was a high priority for us. And when it was sitting empty, when the school board quit using it as the adult ed, we started to worry. Would it be sitting there and deteriorating? So we were pressing them to, what are you doing with that building? What are you doing with that building? So it worked. Thank you, Nicole. Well, so many people think the same thing about that school. And of course, we own the sister school also, Wellington Street. And we've used it for some city functions and are now designing some other stuff for it. So.
Can't wait. Dale Cummings is saying he's got a comment, and in his opinion, Indwell is a joke. I disagree with that. I think Indwell is phenomenal. Just because of the work
you need to say that to some 2,000 people who were homeless that aren't. I don't think anybody would be joking about saying take those 2,000 people and put them back on the street. And I know Dale didn't mean it that way.
No.
But the real answer is we get help from a charity that does this stuff on a thin dime with the city, and gets people permanent housing and move on to the success stories we're getting now of people getting into permanent housing, getting into jobs, getting now permanently off the street. Look, it's a tough time economically right now, and we can have a group like Indwell helping us. We want it to happen.
I remember the lofts came in.
Right.
And then the station, and then you started to get the numbers of the people that were using it as the pathway out of homelessness.
Right.
It's
and
incredible.
How we've been able to manage, as I already shared tonight, how we've been able to manage crime and petty crime in the core, because we're actually housing people rather than sheltering them.
Yeah.
Right. And we want to get it to the point where we close our emergency shelter. That's the goal. Now we're ways from it yet, but we've got to get some of this building done, and we'll be there.
And I understand the criticisms, but at the same time, if you look at other communities, St. Thomas is so far ahead of where they're at. It's a very complex issue, and everybody is affected by it, and it's not all positive. But I would ask, find a way to support it, and find a way to support us. Take that passion and that energy that you have, and find a way to build our community up with that by connecting it with the people that are doing the work.
Oh, we need all the volunteers, all the fundraising we can do. And yes, there's some criticism of Indwell. Indwell works with people who have come from homelessness, right, from unhoused into housing. And yes, there are some difficulties in doing that type of job. But we've been searching. We can't find another group that does it anywhere close to how well Indwell does it, and is able to do both the building of the buildings, the functionality of the buildings, and the 24-hour supports in the buildings, and the regeneration of humanity, if you will, by giving them a home.
What was Winston Churchill's comment about democracy?
Oh, it's the messiest. It's the messiest form of government you'd ever want, but it's the best one that's out there. And so Indwell's kind of the same way. It may not be the absolute best way to organize removal of homelessness, but it's the best one that's out there. So well, ST.Thomas will continue to grab on with great partners like Indwell.
Yep. Brett Longfield says, what is council's stance on the future of STEG, which is the St. Thomas Elgin General Hospital, amidst prospects for growth locally?
Yeah, well, I've answered this last question. I think it was last week, and I think it was Brett's question. But yes, we'll stand behind our local hospital. The city does not own or run the hospital, so we have great communication with the hospital group and the hospital president as they decide what their next steps are. And I believe they have a proposal before the Minister of Health now to rebuild the hospital, either rebuild the one that's there or build a new one. The city said, you are the experts on this. We'll support you in whatever way it can, and we'll advocate on your behalf. Please let us know. It takes a while to get a hospital built in our province, and with the city's advocacy, we'll make it shorter.
And with the growth we're looking at, I can't see why people wouldn't do that. We've got a question from Brett as well. He's asking, what central space is there in St. Thomas where the community can gather to celebrate and relate with the city's identity as the Railway City? Well, I think.
Well, we already said that tonight. We're at the Railway Museum. I had a wedding here 2 years ago. I've been here to many community events, including the launch of Volkswagen we did in this spectacular building with the Prime Minister and the Premier here. I think we'll use it for more of those types of celebrations too. We really want. The survival of this building is key. And so the fixing of the building, the collection is spectacular as we sit in car 14. But the survival of the building is still needs all the volunteer and all the fundraising it can get. And if we can get that, then this museum will be a prime location in the middle of our community.
And just on the weekend, like the amount of displays they put up in addition to what they had previously was fantastic throughout this whole building, talking about the history. I know as a humorous point, there was one fellow who commented on Facebook, there's actually, if you don't know it, there's a gray structure there. It's actually the urinal.
Yeah.
And apparently it was controversial when they put in all these urinals in here, but it was mostly a male workforce.
And they couldn't leave the work line they were working on. And so it's quite unique. I just showed that to someone a few months ago, and they went, well, what's that doing in the middle of the work floor? Well, it was a predominantly male workforce. So, and
it now has a plaque next to it. It's a piece of history.
All right.
All right. We got, at one time there were tents with homeless in Athletic Park. Are they gone now?
Our protocol is the minute anyone tells us through our customer service system or through our housing or through the police or the special constables, that day we meet with whoever may be living on the street rather than in our shelter, and meet with them with what the plan is to take down their structure and move them to the shelter where permanent supports can also be. The shelter also offers mental health support and addiction support and food and medical all day long, every day. And so it doesn't last long. If you tell us that you found someone who's living on the street, please call into our customer service. We'll get the protocol in. That's the street team, our community officers, our own housing people, Canadian Mental Health, and the group, and we make sure that they get some permanency to their housing that way.
And they have, like, there's an outreach team, like the mayor, and they just won an award through the chamber.
Yes.
One of the impact awards. Yeah. So what happens is that outreach team from social services will actually go out to where the encampment is, and they'll have a conversation with the people, which is low pressure. So there's no, hopefully there's no,
It
No
varies.
friction.
If it's on private property and we've got an owner of that private property saying, I don't want this here, we go out with maybe a different attempt. If it's on a city property or a public property piece, we with a different attempt. Either way, we really would love them to move inside to the inn and 100% over time actually have. Now, some of those people who we had to do that with over the past couple of years are now living in permanent indwell housing, and so the highest acuity for housing ends up at indwell first, and so we're really trying to make that happen still, and we will continue to address. If you got an area where you're seeing somebody outdoor camping or outdoor living, call customer service at City Hall or customer service at ST.Thomas.ca and fill in the form. And we'll get somebody on it immediately.
All right, I'm just gonna check the rest of the questions here, and then we're gonna sign off because we're a bit over time here. Okay, one more question about the mayoral powers from Nicole.
Yes,
she says it's fantastic to hear your approach. So, as it stands with the mayor, whomever they are, remain without these excessive powers, or is it possible that a future mayor could invoke those powers and thereby easily abuse them?
Well, I wouldn't suggest it's an abuse to use them because they're being offered under control of the provincial government. This mayor could invoke them at some time in the future. Should the great council I have, we not work together, and I just don't envision that ever. So I'm declining the powers as it goes now after the next election in 2006. And I think every year I have to decline or redelegate the powers, as I did last night at council. We have to do that every year to just say which ones we're redelegating. And I just said each of the ones that you took away, I'm giving back hiring to the council. Budgets to the council. We've been great at working together, so I don't want to muck this up at all. So Nicole, thank you for your interest. But there are some communities where there's kind of rogue councils that are going on too, that mayors may actually help the system by invoking strong mayor's powers. I just don't have that. Our council, we talk things out. I'm not discussing we don't discuss. But at the end of the day, we agree what the right route for the city to take is. And I've won some and lost some and gone along with what the group is. I think that's what leadership is. Right? So.
All right. Final question for the evening is from Brett, and it's about economic development. Yes. He says, what is council and ST.EDC doing to prepare and support residents of St. Thomas in the face of mounting unemployment and accelerating inflation metrics amidst an increasingly recessionary economy characterized by unproductivity?
Well, first of all, inflation has dropped by about 1.5 points in this last period of time, mostly because of the removal of the carbon tax. But we're starting to see a reversal of inflation. Unemployment has stayed really flat in our area, actually, or employment has stayed very flat in our area.
And we have 3,000 jobs that are available right now within our region. And if you want one of those jobs, all you have to do is you have to talk to the people at Employment Services Elgin. Right. They have the list. They know the jobs.
We've got jobs.
Yeah. Right? You want a job? You got one.
Well, and
you're hiring at Wendy's?
Oh, always.
Every time.
Right? We're building a couple more, so we're going to be okay that way.
And you have benefits there?
Yes.
Yeah, they provide benefits as well. It's a great starter job.
Many of the employers in town are great employers. And so, pick and choose who you're working for, but please don't stay home.
Yeah.
I mean, if you'd like to move on to another job, a higher paid job, say maybe one at PowerCo.
Yeah.
When that plant opens in 2 years, you better be employed now. Because I know I'd look at your resume and go, well, what did you do for these 2 years? You didn't work, right? So we really want to really look at getting people back to school and back to work right now to prepare for these really good, high-paying jobs we're attracting to our community.
Yeah.
More to come.
And you want the referrals.
Right. And so one of the other things that EDC has done, certainly we talked about my being in Germany and speaking to PowerCo, but other businesses over there. And I just got back from Japan where we met both of the home plants of Takumi and Amino are here in St. Thomas, both doing expansions at the moment and hiring more people. And try to have good conversations with the Canadian consulate about attracting more Japanese companies to our community too. Yeah. Look, we're not standing still. We know that there's some trouble in the world, and we're going to, instead of wait and have a few more meetings about it, we're going to go hard on it and attract all we can to St. Thomas. Trust me, this mayor and council will go and get it done.
And the supports through the EDC, so Small Business Enterprise Center, which supports St.Thomas and Elgin County. Right. You also have the Elgin Business Resource Center.
Yes.
So if you're in business and you're looking for the support,
starting a business, right?
Yeah, they have it all there. Yep. If you're someone who's looking for a job, there's Employment Services Elgin, but if you tie into the Small Business Enterprise Center or the Elgin Business Resource Center, they might be able to connect you up with someone who's looking for your skill set.
That's right.
And they would happily do it. All these organizations are
working together in St. Thomas. It's maybe 10 different organizations in another community. And here it's 2 or 3 that work really well with talking to each other all the time.
And the city
special act here. Oh no, we make sure it happens.
So this is in terms of like what the city's doing. It's making sure that these organizations have the right people to support the community that needs them.
Yes,
I would say.
Yep.
There we go.
All right, funny enough, we can multitask here in St. Thomas. We can work on employment at the same time as we're working on housing and working on wastewater plants and working on roads. We recognize we have a strategic plan that is multifaceted, and we will continue to deliver on everything that a great city like St. Thomas needs.
And if you want to provide feedback, make sure you get your input into those strategic plans when they're asking for information. Because the city wants to know what you want. Because at the end of the day, we're all working together.
I think we'll see a great new way for you to engage.
Oh,
with
really?
The city, yes, and we'll more of that on a future. But new communications director starts on Monday, so
phenomenal.
Part of that will be how do you talk to us? How can you, besides coming to Mayor's Update and asking questions, because that's been a great source that isn't out there in most communities. So
none, as far as I know. If you know of another community that's doing what we do, let us know, because I'd love to check it out.
Yeah, we're into 6 years of meeting at least once a week and talking about city events.
Yeah, municipal politics.
Yeah, imagine that.
I know.
Talk to the people.
Thousands of people watch it. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
You're the people that make this happen. So thank you. All right, let's get out of here.
We better get out of here. They're going to throw us off the train.
That's right. We're going to get tossed out.
Throw Mama from the train.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next week.